One of the most exciting features in GearJot is the ability to replicate the paper forms that you have been using for years and bring them into the digital age using our Form Builder tool. The benefits of replacing the trouble of clipboards and carbon copy paper and replacing it with a secure, cloud-based, and mobile-friendly solution are too many to name. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to create custom forms that your team will actually enjoy filling out. To view all of the forms in your company, click the Forms button. When viewing the form submissions list in the company context, you'll initially see all of the most recent submissions, along with how many issues were reported in that submission, what piece of gear it's attached to, the submission time, and who submitted it. Also, when in the company context, you'll also see a Forms tab. When you click this, you'll see all of the different forms that can be used throughout your company. In each row, you'll see how many pieces of gear the form is currently attached to, and how many submissions there are. If you have admin privileges within your company, you can create a new form by clicking the Create Form button. This will take you to the form editor. Let's take a quick look at all of its features. Here is the page editor. Each form will consist of at least one page, and each page has a name. By default, the initial page's name is Page 1. You can easily change this by typing the name you want here. Pages are a good way to visually divide up your form's fields. For example, if you have questions about the interior and exterior condition of a piece of equipment, it might make sense to separate the fields into an interior page and an exterior page. So in this demo, let's name the first page Interior. To add a new page, simply click the Add Page button. A new page will be added, so let's name it Exterior. You can also rearrange the order of your pages by clicking on the drag icon and holding down while you move the page up or down. Since users will see the outside of their equipment before the inside, let's make the exterior page first. Also, if you decide that you do not want a page anymore, you can click the trash can button to remove it from the form. But please be warned, when you remove a page, you'll also be removing all of the fields on that page. The Settings widget is where the form's name and which pieces of gear this form is attached to are set. In this demo, let's name this form Pre-Shift Inspection. A form can be attached to one or many different pieces of gear. To attach gear to a form, click the Edit button. Here, you'll see the familiar accordion-style gear menu, as well as the Select All button, which will automatically select all available gear. To select gear, you can click the checkboxes for a type, make, model, and unit number. Clicking a checkbox will automatically select all levels below it, as you can see. Once you have all the gear selected that you want to attach to this form, click the X at the top right of the modal. You'll now see the gear count in the attached gear field. Now let's add some fields to our form's pages. To select the Exteriors page, simply click anywhere in the white space of this page's section, then click the Add Field button. This will bring up the field modal. The first step is to choose what type of field this will be. The type of field will determine what additional items you'll need to configure. For now, let's stay with text field, and I'll come back to explain all the other types of fields. Next is the required checkbox. When this is checked, this field will be required in order for this form to be submitted. The label is what will be displayed next to this field, and placeholder will be what is initially in this text box before a user adds their own input. These settings are a part of most of the field types. Now I'll give you a brief rundown of all the other field types. A text box is pretty much the same as a text field. The only difference is that a text box allows for multiple lines of text, whereas a text field only allows for a single line. For this type of field, a checkbox will be displayed. Instead of setting a placeholder value, you can set whether or not the box will be initially checked by default. A dropdown allows you to create a dropdown menu populated with a custom set of options that you can create by clicking the Add Response button. You can then type whatever you want to be an option into the provided text box. You can add as many responses as needed, and if you accidentally add too many, you can click the Garbage Can button to remove that response. The File Upload field allows you to request certain types of files from the user. You can determine which types of files are valid for this field by using the provided Allowed Files options. Yes, No, NA fields are an important type of field, as a no response, meaning a response with a red X, will result in a task being created. Depending on how you phrase a question for this field, it may make more sense for a more affirmative answer to create a task. This is why we have given you the ability to create custom response labels. The hours and miles fields are special fields, as they allow you to manually collect the hours and miles for a piece of equipment. These values will then be used to directly update the hours and miles for that piece of equipment. Because of this, please note that each of these fields can only be used once within a form. The location field element is currently only displayed on the mobile app. To see this in action, please watch our video tutorial for the mobile app. Rather than an input field, This field will actually display a button which you can customize a label for. When pressed on a user's mobile device, their GPS location will automatically be recorded. After you have configured a field the way you want it, click the Add Field button. Let's skip ahead a bit to see what a form looks like once it has been populated with a few different fields. After you add fields to your form, you can see a little preview of how it will look. Also, after a field has been added to the form, you are free to edit it by clicking the pencil icon. You can also remove it by clicking the trash can icon. Or rearrange the order by clicking and holding on the drag icon and moving the field up and down. Once you have the form the way you want it, click the Create button at the top right of the page. Now this form will be available for users to fill out on both desktop and mobile platforms for all the gear that you have attached it to. If you made a mistake, you can always update this form by clicking the Edit button. If you would like to create a new form, but use another form as a starting point instead of a blank canvas, you can click the Duplicate button. That concludes this tutorial on creating forms. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you still have some questions about this topic, please add a comment below. I highly recommend checking out our other GearJot video tutorials, as well as subscribing to this channel so that you'll know when we post new video tutorials helping you get the most out of GearJot.